Okay, so as you know, I'm Jane Gunn, mediator. We spoke on the phone, and Connie and Peter, is that all right if I call you
Yes,
by your
absolutely.
first names?
Yeah.
Obviously you call each other by your first names, father and daughter. We spoke a bit on the phone about the mediation process, but would it be helpful if I just reminded you, if I kind of went over that
Yeah, that'd be good.
again? Okay. So really mediation, it's quite an informal process. It's really just you having a conversation and me, if you like, kind of supporting that conversation, kind of helping you to have the best conversation that you could have about the issues, whatever issues that you've got that you'd like to talk about today. And it's a voluntary process, so you don't have to stay here if you don't want to. You can take breaks at any time that you feel, and I might suggest at some time that you take a break. And hopefully there'll be some opportunities for you to get clearer about the things that you feel are concerning you, to think about what might be some of the options for moving forward. You might reach an agreement and you might want to write that down, and that's one option again, to write something down, and I could help you to do that if you wanted me to. So my role really is to listen to you, to help you to say what you feel you'd like to say, and to help you to listen to each other, and sometimes maybe to even listen to yourselves a bit, if that doesn't sound too strange. So the whole process is confidential. That means everything we say in the room today is confidential. We talked about that, and you said that's what you like.
Absolutely.
So, and you've signed an agreement to mediate,
Yeah.
which really confirms that. So that's really, there's no other kind of ground rules. You get to make all the decisions today, really. So it's your day, it's your session, whatever you would like to happen, whatever you'd like to talk about. So as I say, I'm really just here to support your conversation. Is there anything you think would help the conversation to go well? Have you got any requests of each other before we start?
No, I suppose we just need to get the issues out on the table, really, don't we?
Yeah, just
I
need to
think
get the
both
issues
ways.
out. Yeah. So when we spoke, the issues were about your business, your family business, but where would you like to start in talking about that?
Shall I start?
If you'd like, yes.
All right, okay. So lately, the whole idea of the business is that we built it. Mum and Dad have built this business to make things happen and pay for everything during the course of the years. And the whole idea is that you take it over a period of time, and that's what you've always worked towards doing. But lately, it doesn't really seem like it's working that well, either from my side or your side. So I guess what we need to kind of talk about is what's not working, really. Does that make sense? I suppose. So for me, I think we've had this issue recently, where we were taking on with a client where more than once I've probably kind of led things, and I know you're not happy about that, really, are you?
No, I think you need to let me talk more and understand that I am ready to take the lead myself.
Okay, so well, for me, that's easier said than done. And the reason why it's easier said than done is because I've been doing this an awful long time, I suppose. So I can see things with my experience that you can't see, and it's just experience, it's not criticism. So if I can see things aren't working, and it means the client's not going to happen, or we're not going to get the business because of it, then I kind of can't stop myself, really, because I can see it's not going to work.
I do understand that, but all because it's a new approach doesn't mean it's necessarily incorrect.
So Peter, let me just reflect. You said the business was built up by you and by Mum and Dad, and I think you mean you and Annie there,
Yeah.
over many years,
Yeah.
and that the intention was been that Connie would take it over, and that's what you've been working towards. But Connie, you said you sometimes don't feel that you're listened to, or that you can, you're allowed to talk. Yeah, so that might be one of the issues between you that you're wanting to explore.
That was a pregnant silence, wasn't it? A pregnant pause, or whatever you want to call it. I suppose the thing is we've been doing this an awful long time, and because we've been doing it an awful long time, it's not easy to switch it off and just let you do it. We've tried to, I've certainly tried to, but the thing is, what I've found, particularly with people that we employ, and we employ quite a lot of people, is that they don't actually do what you want them to do, and therefore you have to just kind of kick on with it and make people do it. And of course, being a daughter, it's not quite so easy to do that. And yet, if I don't shout about it, it doesn't happen.
So Peter, you're talking about there about the staff that you employ and that you feel you need sometimes to sort of make them to do things, to be controlling how the staff are.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Working for you.
It's very different being an employed person where you're 9 to 5, take the money, go home. There's nothing wrong with that. It's perfectly fine. But someone somewhere has to lead that. Otherwise, if you don't lead it, nothing happens, because collectively they don't want to know. They're not interested. They're going to go home at 5 o'clock. Don't blame them, because it's not their business. Why should they? But on the other hand, business needs things to happen. So then it falls to one person. So invariably, that person's me. Or has been for many, many years. And so, because the thing is, Connie takes that over. It needs that sort of approach, otherwise it doesn't happen. But I know, Connie, you don't agree with that, do you?
I do in a part, but I think if you listen to your employees more, you'll be able to sort out a better way of management.
I do listen to them.
In part, yes you do, but not all of their ideas. Sometimes they see things in the business which we can't because we're at the top level.
What do you mean? Give me an example.
Like your close employees, for example, some of them have ideas that they could pitch to you, but perhaps sometimes you're not open to listening to their ideas.
Well, some of them are rubbish though, aren't they? Be honest. I mean, you know, I'm sitting there thinking, really? You know?
Well, they've got to that level for a reason, so there must be some quality in them that's...
Well, I suppose that's true. Well, come on, some of them are really daft, aren't they? You know, but yeah, you're right. I don't always suffer fools gladly, do I?
So it seems to me that's one of the key differences you've already identified between you is, you know, how you manage staff. Peter, you've said, you know, that it's always fallen to you to manage the staff, and you're finding it quite hard to give up doing that, to step back from that. And Connie, you said you have a different approach to the staff. You feel they should be listened to more, and that sometimes they have good ideas about how the business might be run. And Peter, you've said sometimes they have daft ideas, and you know, maybe it would be better to ignore them. So
yeah.
It's one of the things you fundamentally disagree about, I guess.
I suppose it's a different approach, isn't it? That you've always believed in getting everybody together, haven't you, and work collectively. Whereas my experience has been, if you do that, nothing gets done, and everybody looks at each other and goes, "Yes, it's a great idea. It doesn't happen." I suppose it's whether you think you can steer that through that way. Because for me, that doesn't work. But if you think that that will work, I guess you've got to prove it, really.
In the last few years, I have realised that you do need a bit of both, I suppose. But you're not going to have a happy business without happy employees. It's just not going to work.
They're all happy. They all come and smile, aren't they, when I say good morning?
Maybe because you're the one that pays them.
Ah.
Doesn't mean they're necessarily happy in the business. They don't think things could change.
Are you suggesting that some of them are happy then?
Some of them have expressed a little discontent occasionally.
I'm really tempted to ask you who, but you're not going to tell me, are you?
I can't really know. They came to me in confidence.
Ah, right, okay. Well, that's charming, isn't it, eh? Yeah, all right. Yeah, I accept that, actually. They would come to you first, not me. Or they might come to your mum, but they're less likely to come to me because I'll just say, let's get on with something. So I suppose that's fair enough. Well, what would you do differently then?
Perhaps hold monthly meetings, more casual appraisals, so it's not like a boardroom kind of meeting, because that instantly scares employees. If you're staring at them from one side of the table, they're not going to tell you their opinions, are they?
No, that's true. But if you're not careful, you're just going to have mother-type meetings, as my dad used to call it, mother-type meetings, you know, where everyone gets round and goes like this and nothing ever happens. So do you think you can make that work so that actually they will steer themselves forward and do something?
If we get more of the HR department involved.
That's a cost.
It's a cost, but I think it'll be worthwhile.
What would you do?
Have them sit in some of the appraisal meetings and have one-to-ones and have them available for if they have any queries or anything at any time. Because at the moment that's just not available, and that's what creates all the gossip in the office.
Yeah, there's always gossip, isn't there?
Sadly, yes.
Yeah, all right, okay.
So Connie, you focused a bit there on the fact that some of the staff are unhappy, and Peter, you said that was kind of a surprise to you. You sounded as though you weren't maybe
I just wanted to get on with
aware
it.
of that.
I've had years and years and years. I just wanted to get on with it. And there are times when, frankly, I think, well, what's there to think about? Something needs doing, just get on and do it. If I walk in through the door, whatever time in the morning, I see something needs fixing, I just fix it. So I just expect employees to do the same thing. I know that they have homes to go to, I know we pay them for 9 to 5, I don't expect them to stay late or that sort of stuff. But if they see something that needs doing, just use the brain and fix it. Whereas, Connie believes that by more conversation and chatting, they're more likely to do that anyway. Well, I've always done that, so why aren't they the same? I don't get it. Why would they be different?
So Peter, you're confused. You think people should just come into work, they should just be able to get on with it, and you feel that the approach that Connie's suggesting is going to just result in what you call mothers' meetings, maybe?
No, that's what my dad used to call it, mothers' meetings.
And then you're worried that, maybe productivity will fall, I don't know. You were worried that, that it would be wasting time.
Yeah, my experience is that if they're standing around talking too much, then the work doesn't get done because they're busy talking about it.
But the quality of work they're doing afterwards will be far better. They'll be more motivated, they'll be happier, there'll be better client relations.
So you feel, Connie, that involving people will actually, the staff will actually help them to be more productive, there'll be better staff relations?
Yes, yeah. They'll enjoy coming into work, they'll want to do more for the company.
It's another silence there, wasn't it, really? And is that the way you want to take the business forward, Connie? We've built you into this business over a long time, it's what you've always said you want to do. Is it still what you want to do?
If we have positive changes, yes.
And if not?
Then I might have to explore other avenues. Obviously, you've trained me up to be this ever since I was younger. So it's not something I want to just dismiss instantly, but if I'm not going to get listened to, then there's nothing.
Connie, if you're almost saying that, I think if you don't manage to resolve some of these issues, you might have to think again about your role in the business.
Yes, yeah, and I don't want it to have to get to that stage, but sadly, this is where it's come to.
So you don't want it to get to that stage, but it...
No, not particularly,
because
this is all I've ever wanted to do, but I can't fight a losing battle.
So what would we have to do to make it different?
Come up with some kind of compromise with the staff issues and you actually letting me take control of the client meetings, etc. Because else it just looks like I'm still in the background to the clients and that's not what we want.
What happens when I can see that if I come into the meeting you're going to get a difference which is positive, either you'll win the business or whatever, whereas the gamble is you might not win business. That's because of experience, not because of anything else. So you're saying you're willing to take that risk?
You can advise me after or before on the client. If you know the client type, if you know them from past experience, you can tell me how to deal with them.
Okay.
So it sounds like one of the issues you're worried about is meetings with clients, Peter, and you're worried that your instinct, your way of winning business is different from Connie's. And
well, I suppose we are different generations, and that's always something to bear with it. But I've got 40 years of experience in dealing with people, whereas obviously Connie is an awful lot younger and she hasn't got that experience. That's not her fault, she's learning, so we've all got to learn somewhere. I just know how many mistakes I made when I was younger, and I know what those mistakes made again because it could affect the business. And at the end of the day, if my experiences there can stop that, but the trouble is, I suppose I do end up steamrolling in, and I know that sometimes I know I shouldn't be, but I'm not sure what the answer is. So when in doubt, I leap in.
So you know from your 40 years experience that there might be a good way to handle a meeting, and you tend to jump in, and then there's an alternative, but it isn't easy to.
It's not easy to let go because it's the experience that shows. That's the trouble. That's not your fault. It's just experience. So what you would want me to do is not to be in those meetings, isn't it?
You can start off coming in them if you require to. If we have clients that are of your specific age range and that you've actually met before, then maybe that might help if you actually come in, because they might be able to engage with you a lot better than me. But as new clients are coming in and they're more within my generation, as you say, it may help if you let me lead.
You just want young clients now, don't you?
I want up and coming businesses, I don't want...
Old fogey businesses.
Well, I didn't say that.
No, that's what you're thinking. No, that's okay. No.
So one of the options you're talking about there is maybe with new clients, and you're almost talking about different generation of clients there, that Connie, you could take over the new clients and build relationships with them. But if they're more of Peter's generation, you're saying, or perhaps they're existing clients, perhaps Peter could still be involved. That's one of the
Yes, I'm happy with him to
one of
stay
the
involved.
options you seem to be thinking about.
Okay, so if I deal with the old ones and you deal with the young ones, because you're the one that's bringing those ones through, would that make you happy?
For the time being, yes. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, eventually I would like to do all of that, but by that
Yeah.
time...
But that would help me phase those out.
Yes,
Because there's not that many actually, but if I did that, would that make you a lot happier?
it probably would, yes. You're better at pitching for that age group, as I am better at pitching the new up-and-coming businesses.
Yeah, I don't understand some of these young ones, to be honest. They've got funny ways. I don't get it. Well, yeah, I'd go with that.
So Connie, you feel Peter might be better at pitching to some of the existing or different generation clients, and you might be better at pitching to some of the...
He's already built foundations and friendships with some of the clients. They're quite close. They go out golfing together and things like that. So I'm happy for him to still maintain that contact.
So I can go play your golf still, is that all right?
Yes.
Oh, right, okay, that's good. Well, that make a lot of
If it's
difference.
okay with that.
Yeah, well, I'll get in trouble with that, don't I? You know that. So, okay.
So,
Well, that makes sense, I suppose, really. So long as that you are committed to taking the business forward, because obviously a lot rides on it, doesn't it? The whole pension things and healthcare things and everything. For your mum and I, for Annie and I, that is a big deal for obvious reasons, but it's a deal for you too, taking it forward. So long as you think this is still what you really want to do, then all right, I can back off into some of those areas. I'm not sure I agree with always having lots of meetings routine, but if that's the way you think you can make it work, you won't want me in those meetings, will you?
Not particularly, no. But we'll see how it starts out. We'll start with one every month, get some feedback from the actual employees and see if they think it actually helps. Because I could be wrong, but that's just how I've perceived it so far.
so Peter, you said what I think I heard you say is you're happy to go with this approach or to give it a try, as long as you feel Connie is actually committed to sticking with the business, because that's what you and Annie have always had in mind and expected would be happening. So you're happy to try out perhaps new ways of running things with Connie, as long as you feel she's committed to the business.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing is that is a new way of doing things, because in the past I've always dealt with all the clients. So by asking me to only deal with a certain section, it doesn't really matter what. You know, we laugh about the fact it's the old one, but it kind of is really. That's fine, but you've got to win, because if you don't win, the business isn't going anywhere, and then that's the problem. So then what am I supposed to do? Stand there and just say, okay, keep going, or do I lead back in, which of course is my instinct to, because it's what I've always done. So it's a big leap of faith because of my history, I suppose.
So for you, Peter, you feel you're making almost a big leap of faith handing over to Connie and leaving her to win the business, because the business success depends on that.
I don't have any challenge with Connie doing the stuff at all. Otherwise she wouldn't be doing what she's doing. No, she's perfectly more than capable of doing that. That's not an issue. You know, either as a person in the job or as a daughter, it makes no odds. No, this is a change of style of the business, so that's significant, because what we're saying is, you know, it's a different style of doing business. So we've got to be careful how we do that. So I suppose if I'm looking after some of them in one way and you're looking after some of them in another way, it kind of proves it, doesn't it? So that's not you as an individual, it's just the method that you're saying is to be judged. It's not you as an individual.
Is the change of style, the different way of working with clients and with staff that you're unfamiliar, maybe uncomfortable?
Yeah, it's not something, I used to say, this is what we need doing, get on with it, do it, thanks, cheers, bye, and you're either good or you're not. You're not saying do that. I accept the fact that life is different, generations are different. I can't do that, but if you think you can, and as long as it makes the business do what it's supposed to do, then it would be the right thing to do.
Well, as I said, I'm happy for you to watch over it while we transition into the new ways. As long as you don't butt in too much.
Okay.
Else it's not going to work.
Well, I think the thing is if I'm not at those meetings where you don't want me to be at those meetings, that will stop me doing that. Because the truth is, I've got to play golf. So I'll go play golf. And
so
then,
Peter, a solution for you might be to go and play golf rather than feel tempted
Yes,
to actually step into the room
yeah,
at
but
that
you're going to have to
time.
explain that to your mother.
Well, you're going to need more time to relax anyway. It's not
Yeah, no.
healthy for you to keep.
Okay.
Up to you.
Alright, no, alright, well, yeah, okay. I'll run with that.
So let me just check in. Where do you want to go with the conversation from here? Do you feel you've reached an agreement on some of the issues you came with?
I think we probably have, actually. I
I
have.
think time will tell.
Yeah. Might be an idea we do this again.
Yes, perhaps. In a few months after we've seen how things go.
So you might try this new way of working and then perhaps come back to another mediation session to explore any issues that come out of it. Or
Yeah, I guess so, because we haven't done this before, really, have we?
No.
I've been kind of stomping off, and you've been kind of stomping off. So this will be a good way of talking things through.
okay, so maybe if we meet again in a couple of months' time, and in the meantime,
Okay,
try out.
we'll give it a try.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.